Hey,
Hey,
we're here.
welcome to
How,
Don't
how
Worry
about that?
Wednesday. We were pushed
Ryan's
away
all serious.
by a really fantastic voice. Jesse, you want to just put that on display for them? What you just did? All right, yeah, you can tell them.
Hey, what you doing?
Oh,
Ah,
they can't
they're
hear
just
you. What?
listening to me sound
Hold on, I
like a
fix.
weirdo, big
Alright.
weirdy.
I think they can hear me
Go
now.
for it.
Okay, let's go, guys. In 3, 2, 1, let's go!
Ah!
That's how we started the show. Welcome to Don't
That's
Worry
how you started.
Wednesday, the show where we talk about your issues and problems. Why? Because we have plenty, apparently.
We are familiar
Well,
with issues and problems.
yes.
Yes, we're very familiar.
Yeah. So, anyways, who is this new person? That's Jesse in the background who was doing a voice for us to start us off. It's pretty funny. Anyways, yeah, this is Don't Worry Wednesday, show where we talk about whatever you're going through, whatever is on your mind. You know, sometimes it's good to have someone who's been through the experience or has maybe a little bit different perspective on things to talk to about stuff. Sometimes it's good to just get it off your chest. It allows us to think clearly about, where we're going with our life and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
thanks for sitting through me saying that. Also, a side note, we're not professionals in terms of psychology, psychiatry, psychonesis, telekinesis, telephone companies, technology, and tortoises. We're not professionals in any of those fields, nor policemen, or really not a whole lot. We're not professionals in most things, but we will try to be your friend and give you the best advice we can based on our own life experiences. So don't sue us if things don't work out, because they're not. I didn't do it.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
Yep. No waivers need to be signed. You guys are set to go
That's
live your
right.
lives. That's right.
That's right.
Awesome.
Did you see Jono's question? A quick one.
Can I ask a quick question? That one?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, go for it.
If a lion drops on you from the ceiling, what do you do?
You get. I don't know. You get squashed. You
Depends. Is it
you
a is
roll
it
you
a
roll you roll a d20 and then the DM figures it out from there, honestly. That's Jonah was referencing our campaign list yesterday that I think it was yesterday, maybe it was a couple days ago. Anyways, we were playing D&D on our other stream, which is Twitch /BSS_streaming.
Yes,
And
you all should go there.
you should go there. Hang out.
Somebody
It's
put
fun.
Princess posted the link. Go there and subscribe. We will not be offended if you leave us to go subscribe to that channel. I tell you, I don't get to go to their streams very often. I had so much fun just hanging out in the chat room, gambling my potarts away.
And we were happy to have you there too. Yeah, all the potarts, guys. You can get so many potarts and gamble
You
them
can.
away.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. There's games in the chat. I was like, this is so fun. Oh, and you get to hang out with like Ryan and Jesse and Princess was there in voice. And who else is Cat's Rook, right?
Cat's Rook was there as well, yeah.
Yes, and let me tell you another thing. I had no idea what I was doing, anything, but they were so patient and kind with me to help explain how to remove the potarts from my account.
Through gambling. That
gambling.
is right. We will explain that to you all day long, so long as you don't pass us up on the leaderboard. Isn't that right, Jesse?
That's right. Well, yeah. Jehoshaphat was there.
Jehoshaphat, that's what exactly what I'm referring to. Jehoshaphat passed Jesse up on the leaderboard, and Jesse egged him on until he gambled it all the way. He's like, hey, if you do it again, I'll give you VIP. And he's like, all right, I'll do it. And then he lost it.
Lost it all. Big oof. I was like, oh man. Oh man. Yep, he gained all the potarts. It was incredible. He was up to like 350,000 of them, and then to 0.
That's pretty cool, eh? That's interesting. But anyhow, yeah. So anyways, let's get on with the show, eh?
Sure.
So, yeah, we actually have quite a large amount of backlog here of posts from you guys, which is really, really fantastic to see. March 11th was apparently a pretty big day. You guys posted a lot on that day. So I'm going to start reading this off. If you are here, just drop a message, say, hey, that's my name. And we'll get to yours first, as long as, we'll just kind of do this in a chronological order. So let's start from the top. Hyrule, Ichiraku Jack. Summoner Kagan, John Doe, Munker Star, Man Left Behind, Eric Bodine, Gareth, Lay, I see Lay, Anonymous. So if we have an anonymous one, that means we will get to that.
Says not ready yet.
Okay. Oh, okay. Not ready yet for the anonymous. That's cool. Lord Francium, Rosie, Akil, Toast, Subaru, or Subaru, you, which is Cherry, Princess, and Sparrow. So, hey, that's my name. Hey, Jonah, how's it going? Ichikaru Jack is with us. Holy cow. Ichikaru Jack, here's the thing. Yours is from October 23rd. We kept it here for you. For the day that you would show up once again in our presence. Would you like us to cover this for you? The title is, How Can I Become That Person I Want to Be?
I vote we do it. I like that title.
I do too, honestly. Yeah, sorry. Oh, don't worry about it. We know you guys, we used to do these on Fridays. By the way, we're going to be starting this week. We are going to be doing these on Fridays and Mondays and Wednesdays. Yeah. So whenever you are around on a Friday and you happen to be at 9 o'clock EST, come on down. We're here. So we're here for Don't Fret Fridays. Don't worry Wednesdays. I'm doing this backwards. And don't muddle Monday.
Don't muddle Monday. Yeah, that's right.
Don't muddle Monday.
It's become Muddle Monday. Don't muddle Monday.
Yep.
Three every week. We're gonna be here. Yes.
That's right. For you guys, because we love this show and we love you guys. And we just want to spend more time talking to you and hanging out with you guys because you guys are awesome. So
Yep. And then and also there's gonna be gaming streams more and everything like that. So that's why it's so important to go to that Twitch link and subscribe there as well, because we're gonna be hanging out there, having a really good time. I mean, it's a crazy time, it's a crazy time all around the world with the global pandemic and everything. I shouldn't touch my face. I know, because I might mess it up.
Yeah. So we're going to do our best to be around you guys.
Yeah. We just want to be around. Because,
we know you're free. We're not doing anything better. Okay. Maybe some of you are, but still. Yeah. So Ichikaru Jack, what was the consensus on that one? Yeah.
We're doing it.
Okay. Sweet.
We're doing it.
All right. Once again, Ichiraku. I'm so sorry, man. Ichikaru is a totally different word altogether. Ichiraku Jack. How can I become that person I want to be? It reads as follows. I have had trouble with who I want to be. I have this picture in my head that I want to be someone who is funny and people like to talk to. I want to seek thrills and enjoy many crazy things. Sadly, I don't want to lose the friends I have because they're so nice to me. And I don't want to have the courage, and I don't have the courage to be that person. How would I be that person? And is it possible to change that much? So this is a fantastic topic, one that I can personally relate to greatly. I'm curious, oh my gosh, I almost said it wrong again. Ichiraku Jack. I'm curious, have you had over the months now that it's been, have you had any development in this area? Have you found yourself complacent or just not moving, kind of like you're indicating here, or have you found yourself on the other end where you are moving forward or you're changing as a person? Have you had any development there? I'm just curious to see where you've taken this since you've posted. because it's a really good topic. It's a really important thing to consider in life and to go through. So, yeah, there's a lot we can talk about here. I know that Joe and I have changed tremendously throughout our lives, sometimes rapidly and sometimes very slowly. So, I'd like to give it up to Joe.
Oh, I'd like to give it up to Ryan.
Oh, wonderful. With this newfound power, I will begin to put all of that pressure on you, Joe. Go for it.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. I knew you wanted it.
First of all, Ichiraku Jack, thank you so much for posting, and it's great to see you again. And this is a great topic because, like Ryan was saying, this is one that I've had experience with. This is one that he's had experience with, because we really can become who we want. I mean, we can be any type of person we want to be. It might take some time to get there, might take some study, it might take some practice, might take developing some new habits, but all of it is really just bringing our best self to the world, bringing the fullest version of ourselves to the world. And there I can't think of titles right now, but Matthew Kelly talks a lot about that, being the best version of yourself. He's an author and a speaker. He talks a lot about that kind of stuff, being the best version of yourself. Some of the things that I had to learn in order to grow was I had to learn people skills. I had to learn how to deal with people. I was so introverted that it took, I had no idea how to relate with other people. So different books that I had to read were like How to Win Friends and Influence People, How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People. These books that talk primarily about people skills. And some of those things, like you start to learn when you understand how people operate, then you start to kind of just jive with that. You start to kind of you do this little dance, with other people anytime you run into them, anytime you meet them. You just kind of, one of the biggest keys is to smile and to just in your heart accept them and approve of them, and just be okay with the people around you. Don't try not to judge, based on what you see, because really we're all just people. And when I learned that, because I would always put people at such a higher importance than me, and so it made me really shy, and it made me really, self-conscious, and it made me really nervous about how I was coming across to them, because I always figured I was just this little, piddly stupid thing, in the presence of these great individuals that were all around me. And that's just kind of how I perceived everyone. I had a pretty crummy self-image for a long time. And when I started to figure out that, hey, this guy is a person, he might have all kinds of titles attached to him. He might have CEO titled, next to his name, or he might have president of such and such company next to his name, or he might have, whatever. He might have a whole bunch of money stapled to his bank account. And, so all these things impacted the way that I would see people. And then you start to look at people and you start to think, you know what? That person sleeps regularly. They have to eat regularly. They have to drink water regularly. Probably if they don't bathe, they start to smell bad regularly. Probably because we're all people. And we all kind of, we're kind of made of the same stuff. So like when I started to figure that out, it's like everybody's got problems, everybody's got issues, everybody's got challenges, everybody's got happy points of their life, everybody's got low points of their life, everybody's got hopes and dreams for the future, everybody's had dreams dashed, just fall apart. Everybody's probably had joys and triumphs and then tragedies and sorrows, and our lives are filled with all of it. And it's this drama that gets played out in our lives. And when we can look at another person and understand that they go through not exactly the same situations we go through, but the same types of stuff that we go through, we can, that helped me to be more understanding of others and to just have a little bit of grace and patience with others and just understand, you know, to give them a smile and to love them no matter what. And I'll tell you, when you go through life with your heart like that, you can pretty much just do whatever you want because you're going to be coming from the right standpoint. So the things you want to do, they're going to be good things because you're going to have that understanding for other people. You're going to have that love for other people and that grace for other people. And so then you can seek the thrills and the crazy things, and you can do all that fun stuff, and you can still have the friends. You can still maintain the friends. One thing, most of the time, changes like that are not overnight. So a friend isn't going to look at you and say, all of a sudden, whoa, man, like you just changed all of a sudden on a dime. The things you're going to hear when you start to go down this path are probably similar to the things that I heard, where people were like, you're different. Like you are, like you're happier. You smile more, like what changed about you? Like you're easier to get along with. Like people would say that. But that type of stuff, it really, really helps. And those types of changes, those are the things that I think are the most important. The ones where you change how you perceive other people, because that then that fixes so many things, and it takes the pressure off of so many things, and it takes the focus off of yourself, which is what you want anyway. The reason most of us are uncomfortable with ourselves and changing ourselves and all that kind of stuff is because we're so focused on ourselves that we forget to focus on other people. And the more we focus on others, the less pressure we feel, and the better all of our interactions go, because we're focused on listening to that other person and reading that other person. We're not focused on trying to be somebody that impresses them. Rather, we're trying to find ways to be impressed by that other person. We're trying to understand them. And that sets the foundation for basically everything that I hear you speaking about in this post. How to change yourself, how to, that's probably the biggest, most effective change you can make. I know that was for me. And so that's my personal experience. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan, because he has another perspective, I'm sure, to share. So Ryan, what do you
Sure.
got?
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Joe. And that is true. That's a good ground, because it is so true. When you realize that everybody is just a human being, and most people are concentrating on themselves, not looking at you. Most people have their own problems, right?
Mhm.
They're all thinking things like that too. How do I change this about me? How do I fix that problem? We're all humans. I think when we recognize that and we don't put ourselves below everybody, not above everybody either, but we start to have a humility of understanding that we're all humans, it really helps start that process of being like, you know what? I have the freedom to change. And if people judge me, well, it's all right. So one thing I actually want to point out here is Saigo. Saigo said about not wanting your friends to stop liking you when you change. If you're becoming better, why would they? Derez Studios responded, "It happens. Trust me." And you guys are both right. I think that's really interesting. If you're just trying to become a better person, why would your friends dislike you all of a sudden? And you would have to say, well, it's because they liked the person I was and not the person I'm becoming. But if you're a better person, right? if you're being more true to yourself, if you're doing more to the things that you want to do, if you're becoming the person you want to be, and your friends don't like you anymore, then maybe those aren't the best friends. I think it was once said, the best friends in the world are those that help us become the best versions of ourselves. The best teachers in the world are the teachers that help us become the best version of ourselves. The best parents in the world are the parents that help us become the best versions of ourselves. So with that, if you have friends and they do abandon you, right? Because here's the thing, you're either going to have the courage to change or you're not. And it's entirely up to you. And courage isn't like, oh yeah, I know I can do this, and I'm proud of, I know I'm going to be proud of myself. Sure. But courage is acknowledging that you have fear. Because courage doesn't come without fear, right? If it's either you decide to do it or you don't. You either force yourself to make those decisions and put yourself in those awkward positions where you've never been. You step outside your comfort zone. You show something to your friends, a side of you that they've never seen before, right? That all takes courage, and you just make a decision and you go for it, right? If that decision makes your friends go, I don't like you anymore, and you are certain that what you're deciding is to aim to be a better person, then those friends aren't the best kind of friends. They're still good. They're still, you can still be friendly with them, but they don't have your back. A friend is someone who is on your side. So if an enemy, right, the one way I like to define friendship is, because if you go, well, what is a friend? Who is a friend? How does a friend act? There's so many different answers to all of those questions. But when you ask, like, what is an enemy? An enemy, an enemy is someone who stands against you. A friend is someone who stands for you. Okay? And so if you're trying to improve yourself, if you're trying to let out the person you are from within, the person that you see yourself being in the future and you can become, if you just gave it the effort and started to act like it, then you'd become it, right? If you act like something, you slowly become it. So if you do that and your friends aren't behind you, then they're not true friends. They're not fully for you. They're not fully for you. They're not for the best of you. And that's what a good friend is. Someone who strives for the very best for your sake and for your best. Someone who, yes, will stop you when you're doing something wrong and saying, hey, look, like, that's not good for you. Like, you should not be doing that. And someone who encourages you when you're doing something right. Right. And so they might look at you at first and being like, whoa, you're changing. What's going on? Are you okay? They might be a little concerned, but then you can reassure them just through natural talking. Just explain it to them like, actually, I've been wanting to become this kind of person because that's who I feel like I should be. And that would be like a better version of myself. I want to like say all these funny things out loud without having people worry, or without being worried about people judging me. Like, I want to be able to do silly things and have fun with it and not be looked down on, or not worry about people looking down on me. Because most of the time people aren't. Most of the time people laugh right with you. Or if they look down at you, guess what? Guess what happens when they look down at you? They forget it. They forget it. Mm-hmm. They look at you and they're like, wow, that guy is being obnoxious. And then it doesn't affect them for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't even matter, right? So with my personal experience in this, I've told the story many times. I'm going to give the short version. And that is, I had a certain online presence. And we're talking about way before Static P. I had this character in a game, and his name was Black Static. And everybody loved Black Static. And in the game, there were like 200 some people more than that, probably like around 400 people that knew who I was. And all of them were my friends. All of them knew me. All of them saw my silly moments. All of them saw my really thoughtful moments. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter who I was, as long as I was just playing the game and having fun. And that was amazing. And then I thought about it and I was like, okay, but wait a minute. In the real world, I have very few people who like me. I have all these people in the game who like me. In real life, there's like 3. Like, what's going on? And then I realized I'm acting as if I'm honestly, the only difference is I'm acting like the best version of myself in the game. And in the real world, outside of it, I'm just holding myself back. I'm literally holding myself back out of fear, worrying about what other people might think. When I come up with a funny thing, like the teacher says something, I have a hilarious remark, but I hold myself back because I don't want to be laughed at. You know, I know the teacher will just let it go. Like, he's not going to be mad at me because, first of all, I never do that, and I'm respectful, and I'm not mean, you know, but I was holding myself back because I was worried about what other people thought. And then I said, you know what? No more of that. I'm going to start acting like Black Static. And every time I wanted to go out there and do something ridiculous, I was like, yeah, but you know who I am? I'm Black Static. Let's go. Let's do this. And then I would do it. So I'd sit down next to random people and start up a conversation. And that was frightening at first. But after sitting there for like even 12 seconds into the conversation, I forgot I was even that nervous to start with, you know? Or I would tell the joke out loud, or be funny, or go out and have fun, or do ridiculously silly things. Go to a piano and start playing it and not worry whether people were judging me or not. And all this was forcing myself to act like a better man, forcing myself to act like who I saw myself, the best version of that being. And at first, so the change is gradual, but that's because at first I had to force myself. But later it became natural, and I became that person more so, right? Now we had to do that. Here's the thing. It isn't a one-time deal. So you think, oh, I do it once. I just have to get this over with, and it's done forever. But the truth is, where people who are progressing as people who are, bettering themselves, it's a constant thing. Every day we should be getting out of our comfort zones, because every time we do, we grow a little bit, right? That's how we become better people. That's how we become the best people. That's how we become people who are recognized, or people go, wow, you've changed my life. Or, I have so much fun when I'm around you. You're just a great guy, or and you're just a sweetheart, like all of these things is a great compliments, but they're achieved by every moment choosing to go outside your comfort zone and work to become the best version of yourself. And that sounds like a life of struggle, but what it actually is a life of joy. Because that's where happiness comes from. That's where you become proud of yourself. That's how you put aside depression. Because when you do this, you notice yourself and you're like, wow, I'm proud of myself. Satisfaction is the main ingredient in happiness. But you can learn to be satisfied in discomfort. The more you try, the more you learn, and better you get at this, you come to a point where you're happy no matter what is going on. Because you can be satisfied with who you are as a person and continue to fight, through your life, all the problems, easier and easier. So anyways, talk more than I should, but I'm going to give it back over to Joe, because I'm sure he has things he'd like to follow up with.
That was not more than you should.
All right, whatever. I'm giving away life secrets. They're not allowed to hear these things, man. No, I'm just kidding.
These are good things, and that was one of the things I was hoping you'd tell that story. I love that story, the Black Static story, because it's so true. Like it shows that you can become whoever, but the real thing is who you really are deep down inside. That's who you're meant to be. That's who you were put here to be. And the world needs to experience the real you.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's so who you're supposed to be.
Right. It's crazy. We all kind of know this for sure, but then we get into the real world and it's like, oh, but I'm shy, or I'm nervous. What are people going to think of me is probably the biggest thing that I struggled with. what is this other person going to think of me? That was one of the biggest things that was a challenge in my brain. And, one thing that I've learned, and I have it re-proven to me again and again and again, how important this is. And that is to live a virtuous and honest life. Do the best you can. Now, all of us are going to make mistakes, for sure. We're all going to mess things up. We might have, the best of intentions and just trip all over ourselves and mess it up. But the more we can just be authentic, the more we can not try to have secrets, to not live some life that we're not. Man, when you're there, like it's kind of a sliding scale, because there's always things you want to keep personal. I'm not saying tell everybody everything you do every second of every day, because that's not appropriate. But
that's too much time. You're just wasting everybody's time if you're gonna do that.
That's absolutely true. But if you live your life in a way where you don't have to lie, or you don't have to hide stuff, then you can relax. I'll tell you, man, when I was younger, I would always be doing things that I felt like I had to keep secret from everybody, not tell anybody about, or then I'd have to lie about it or whatever, right? And some of it was just stupid.
Oh yeah, same.
Just dumb. Like, why did I even feel like I needed to lie about that? It wasn't even that big of a deal. Like, what? But that's the way I felt. And I was so stressed out and churned up inside and all this stuff and just twisted around. And the more I started to just unravel that and be like, you know what? Who cares? I remember coming in touch with someone who they're kind of the attitude they have towards life is, I am who I am, I do what I want, and if you don't like it, that's your fault. And I'm like, first of all, that's kind of rude. That's just giving license to rudeness. But there's the seed of a good idea there, which is like, I am who I am. And I'm just going to be me. I'm going to be honest with the world of who I am and what I do. And this is where virtue comes into play. Because if you're doing a bunch of stuff that hurts other people and you're saying, I am who I am, and you know what? Get out of my way because I'm going to run you over, like that, that's not really virtuous, I don't think. So the more you can think, what's in the best interest of the people around me, what's in the best interest of others, and then live, be authentic, you can relax. And when you relax and you just let yourself shine in the world, that's when you really shine in the world. Not because you're trying to shine in the world, but when you can just relax and let the world experience you for who you are, because you can be honest and authentic. The peace that comes as a result of that. You feel indestructible. It's amazing. So that's pretty much all I could add to what you said, Ryan.
Yeah, no, I really like that. It reminds me of like I'll just add this one point and then move on to the next one. But it reminds me of like the fact that our lives are a gift, right? We didn't choose them; they just are a gift. And then, so we are a gift. Our lives get to be a gift to the world, right? What we do with it. But if you hide the gift, if you wrap it up and never unwrap it, right? then you're not giving the most to the world. The way you give the most to the world is unwrapping that gift and displaying who you are by acting like who you want to be, who you want, like displaying your talents and not holding back, right? And then also, when you give, you realize what you're doing is you're putting yourself out there into the world. You aren't removing anything from yourself when you give. You actually just make a bigger difference, and you add to the world without actually. It's really peculiar because you don't have to reduce yourself in any way to add to the world, and it's incredible. It's like it defies logic, but it's true. It's like a miracle, you know. It's incredible. So, yeah, that's the only thing I want to add to that. So, thank you so much. This is a great topic. Ichiraku Jack, I hope you the best in this. I know it's difficult, and I know it's difficult because you have to force yourself to do something, right? But if you can get out there and just act like who you want to be, and slowly over time, become that, you'll be so happy. You'll be so happy you did. Even if your friends aren't along for the ride, you are going to make all sorts of new friends anyways. But they'll likely, here's the thing. The end of my story that I told before is that it wasn't just me who changed. To be very honest, and I don't mean to brag in any sort of way, but it also changed everyone around me. Everyone around me, like as soon as I started acting differently, as I started, trying to become a better person and just making those decisions, everyone around me started to be inspired by that. They started to tag along and being like, hey, I want to do that more too. I want to try to get out of my comfort zone. And I made a whole bunch of friends, right? All sorts of friends from all different places I never expected to make. All I wanted was to be me. And it was incredible. So don't worry about that, because chances are anyone who sticks with you will become a better person also. And that bond will be so much stronger, because a lot of times our bonds are pretty superficial, but when we reveal our true selves, they become really tight.
Yeah.
So when we go through something together and we grow together, they become tighter. So that's more likely the journey you're going to be headed on. So yeah, good luck to you. Best of wishes.
Yes. Thanks again, Ichiraku Jack.
Yeah. All right.
So is it just me, or is the chat just like stopped?
Yeah, it's just you.
It's just
the
me?
chat's still going. Yep.
Is it really?
You might want to refresh it. Press F5 on that.
Press F5 on that?
Yep. Ichiraku Jack said, thank you. So yeah.
Oh, look at that, man. It's so much better, man. I was in there going,
yeah, right now it's a tough time.
Like a long time ago.
So Ichiraku Jack, just try to keep all of this in mind once the whole plague rolls over and we can go back to society again. Yeah, try to keep all this in mind, be inspired, and go out there and do your thing. And people are gonna be like, you're gonna come back, and people are gonna be like, you aren't who I remember, but you're cool. I like you. I thought, yeah, it's cool. Anyways, what happened to you over break? It doesn't matter. Anyways, let's continue. So Master Lay, thanks for coming back. I'm glad you came back. Sorry, looks like you had a little bit of a heart problem. But seem to be back. Lay, is it cool if we move on to yours?
We also have Jono. Did Jono leave?
Oh, Jono, are you still here? Jono Taylor.
Because he's got two.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
2 in the queue.
Yeah. 2 in the queue. Well said.
Yeah. So we can do.
Still here. Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
So we'll do 1, and then we'll move on to Lays. How's that? Does that sound like a good plan?
That sounds great. You have 2 here, Jono. Right next to each other, which is great. You posted them like the same day for us, or Princess might have done that for you. Fear of missing out and negative response to good things. Those are your 2 topics. Which one would you like us to cover? Fear of missing out or negative response to good things? You can hit Jono's first. Yeah. That's cool. Surprise me.
Surprise me.
Okay. Well, I will surprise you by going directly in order. See, you thought I wouldn't. First one here is fear of missing out. Actually, negative response to good things is actually something I really would like to cover. That makes me want to cover that one.
Princess already posted the link, so
okay,
we're committed.
We're committed. All right, going all in this time, guys.
Yeah.
No takesy backsies. All right.
No takesy backsies.
All right. This comes from Mungerstar on the forums, but on YouTube, it's Jono Taylor. Title here is Fear of Missing Out, and it reads as follows. When I was a lot younger, my two older brothers had an amazing youth group in church. They would have moving nights, go out together, go camping, etc., and they were all very close friends. Understandably, it wasn't my social circle, as I was a few years younger than them all, and a very annoying child, put in parentheses. I always imagined that at some point there would be a new batch of youth people that I would hang out with, as there were a lot my brother's age and none of my age. But as the time came, it was just me and one or two people a few years younger than me. And now I'm too old to be in that group. In that group is, hold on. And now I'm too old to be in that group, which has repopulated. That's what it was. Okay. I think that was the first time I've really gotten down by the fear of missing out. And now it's something that causes me a lot of stress on a daily situation. Even the tiniest little things, like when there is gossip in school, when there is an active voice channel in Discord, or even an active text channel, when there is a live stream, or when something new gets released online. I get unreasonably obsessive over knowing what is happening or being a part of it. How do I get over this? Yeah, very interesting topic. And I think it's one that a lot of us can relate to. I remember, now it is the same thing, but I remember losing sleep. Actually, I've lost sleep many times over the worry about things, but I remember when I was young, I didn't want to miss out on anything. I remember through the summers, I would just lay in bed for like hours being like, I don't want to sleep because I don't want to miss out on anything. I want to be up for it all. And so I totally get it. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Joe and see what he has to say about this. How do you get over the worry of missing out, or the fear of missing out on anything?
That's an interesting, this is a really good topic, and I really appreciate you posting it, Jono, because this is like a sales tactic they teach you in like sales schools and all that kind of stuff, is to like kind of try and awaken that fear of missing out.
Yeah, play on the fear.
That's how sales works. That's how Kohl's Cash works. I mean, it's the devil in disguise, but like, sorry. At any rate, the fear of missing out is one of those strong things, and they try and play on that, limited time only, that's one of those things, and they say like they could put that in permanent paint on the window, limited time only of a store. Because always there's always like a 2-day sale going on, right? Like, so there's that, and I have people that I know, friends of mine and family members, who like they play into that, nonstop. Like they don't want to miss the good deal, so they go and they buy this stuff, and then they figure out they didn't need it, and then whatever, and so then it's like it can turn into an issue sometimes. But this also happens not just with things to buy, but it also happens, like in your case, with dealing with things that are being said, things that are being talked about, being part of a conversation, being part of a group, and I don't know, that fear of missing out. I think one of the best things that I learned to combat that was when I learned there's always going to be another time. There's always another one. When it comes to sales, there's always another sale. You can always, like, this person was specifically talking about, price shopping and doing all that kind of stuff, and he's in trying to help people get past impulse buying based on this type of thing, where he was like, there's always another sale. You see that thing for that price now, you're going to be able to get it for that price again later, or at least a really close price. It's not the end of the world. And it's the same thing with conversations. A lot of conversations happen, and I don't know about them. I was talking about the Twitch stream earlier, the BSS gaming stream, which you all should go and find the link that that Princess posted and go and subscribe. Those of you who haven't done that yet, go do that, because I missed out on a lot of great times when Ryan and Jesse were streaming. Now, legitimately, I had other stuff going on that was important that I needed to do. Like a lot of the times they're streaming in the middle of family time for me. Like some of the precious time I get to spend with my sons, where I'm going to be focused there. But still, I missed a lot of great times on those Twitch streams. And I'm like, man, I don't want to miss any more, because I think that's going to be super fun. And it's true. It was a lot of fun. But I missed a ton of them. And so, I don't know. I mean, I can't get that time back. I can't ever go back and do that, And to be honest, looking back on those times, I would have spent that time playing with my kids. Now, there's going to come a time when we're all on this Twitch streams together, probably. Maybe. Although they're going to get older and they're going to think I'm dumb pretty soon, probably. Because.
But then after that phase, they'll think you're cool again. So.
Yeah, probably. Hopefully, I'll just make sure I have cool friends. But yeah. So those are things I missed out on, and that's okay. I did the best I could. And really, that's what it comes down to. You don't have to catch everything. You don't have to be there for everything. You got a life that you got to live, man. And you've got things to accomplish. You've got talents to develop. You've got skills to develop. Conversations are going to come and go. Gossip's going to come and go. In fact, sometimes gossip can be almost one of the things to avoid, because you can get caught into a trap. I mean, it's fun to listen to. It's fun to pass along. It's fun to be involved. It's fun to be part of the in crowd when the stuff's being talked about and everything. Yeah, I totally get it. But man, I know you've got important stuff to accomplish. And you're just not going to be there for every conversation. That's okay. It's okay. I've learned to say to myself, well, maybe I'll catch the next one. I missed that one. Oh, well, maybe I'll catch the next one. Maybe I'll catch the next one. And I start to try and gauge, okay, what's really important? That's probably the number one thing in this situation that's going to help guide you through it, is to figure out your priorities. What's important to your life? What's important to your grand scheme overall? What's important to your dreams and your hopes and your goals and all that? What's important to that? What's going to help you move toward that? And do that first. And then after that, you can start throwing in the other stuff. You can start throwing in being there for hanging out in the chat, or being there for whatever different stream or anything. You can start to put those things in, but always start with the big priorities, the big rocks, and get those in your life first, because those are the ones that the world needs to experience from you. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see some of the stuff you come out with. And I hope you stick with us and share it, because, I know you're a talented individual.
Mm-hmm.
So at any rate, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan, because I've talked for long enough.
All right. Well, I'm so glad that you went first, to be honest, because it's a really interesting topic. Not one I really spent much time contemplating in my own mind. So it was good to have that time while you were at it, and you really made a lot of good pointers. So I think kind of along the same vein as Joe was just talking about, with buyer's remorse, or being compelled to buy because you see something is on sale, right? It's that sort of missing out sort of thing. The same way you combat that is the same way you're going to have to combat what you're dealing with now, which is being worried about losing out on opportunities. Of course, it's good to take opportunities up. I think that there are many people who have the opposite problem of this. Everything requires balance, right? But it's a matter of balancing what's important in life versus what's urgent, right? There are so many things that are urgent, but they're just not important. And then there are so many things that are important that people put off because they're worried about what's urgent. It's really unfortunate. So here's the thing. This is what I recommend. To get over the fear of missing out, what you're going to want to do is practice self-restraint. So you're not, maybe you are, maybe you're not I don't know. Okay, I'll say this. Do you go out and shop at the store? If you do, Jono, if you do grocery shopping, what you need to practice is buying, like looking at objects and saying, yeah, but do I need it? And if the answer is no, I don't need that. Okay, you can occasionally join your parents. They do it weekly. Okay. So if you maybe you don't do this enough, you don't make as many of these judgment calls as an adult would. If you go to the store and you look at objects and you're like, wow, that looks amazing. Wow, that food looks super tasty. Or wow, I'd really like to have that bike. Or I'd really like to have that new video game. I'd really like to buy that new game on Steam. I'd really like to blah, 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 blah. And then you ask yourself always, but do I need it? And if the answer is no, then the answer is no. And you say, okay, then if I don't need it, then I won't get it. If I don't need it, but it helps, it's an investment that helps me move forward in what's important in life, then if you can afford it, get it. So that's finances, right? Simple finances. Don't buy what you don't need unless it's an investment. And that investment returns greater monetary value later, right? Basic economy.
Yep.
Same thing.
And incidentally, sorry to interrupt you, but in those moments when it's something that you could use as an investment like that, you can still practice restraint by putting a delay, like a 24-hour or 48-hour delay, by just saying, okay, yes, I could really, really use this. I'm going to wait a day.
What is that called? The instant gratification, right? Instant gratification is the practice of rewarding yourself constantly without ever even having to earn it. Or you earn it, and the moment you earn it, you just grab it. And you say, okay, I want it, I get it. Okay. That's instant gratification. You are gratifying yourself. You are making yourself, you are trying to make yourself happy by taking part in all of these luxuries, right? And so what we do as human beings is we practice abstinence or fasting. So if we can fast, we start to learn self-control. And so luckily I was born as a Roman Catholic and went through that and was raised with the concept of fasting. And so fasting is basically you just put something either on hold, or you say, okay, I'll take up this practice and do it every single day, or I will not do this practice every single day. And it could be something like, I will only eat once a day. No matter how hungry I get, I want to prove that I can eat just once instead of multiple times, right? Every day. Or, that's a simple practice, right? Now, depending on your age, I wouldn't recommend that one because you're supposed to get a certain amount of nutrition. I'm not a dietitian, but that's one practice. Or you could say, I will, like, maybe you really like soda. Maybe you really like soda pop, carbonated, or you really like juice, or you really like milk. You really like something, and you go, okay, instead of indulging myself all the time with it because I enjoy it, I'm going to put the enjoyment off until I accomplish something. Or I'm going to put that enjoyment off and only indulge in it once a week. This will create self-control. But okay, all of that I just said. Why? What does that have to do, right, with being fearful of missing out on something? By forcing yourself to miss out on stuff, you start to realize, I'm okay. In fact, I am more peaceful than I was when I was a part of everything. I am more peaceful than when I was drinking all of that pop and that doing all the feel goods, right? Everything that made me feel good, I put it off on the side for a little bit. And instead of feeling worse because I didn't have the feel goods, I feel like the feel goods mean more and I'm way more at peace with them or without them. Mm-hmm. So my best advice to you, Jono, is to try to practice self-restraint in things that aren't related to what you're talking about. And then when you've proven you can do that, allow that restraint to carry over into these other areas and say, you know what? I could attend that stream. Instead, I will just work on what I'm working on and practice that self-control. And when you're done working on it, you know what you're going to feel? You're going to feel happy. You're going to feel a sense of joy that you wouldn't experience if you didn't miss anything. If you went to that stream or whatever it was and you're like, sweet, I got here, versus just doing something that you feel is more important, finishing it and then attending or watching it later or totally missing out. At the end of the day, when you go to sleep, you're going to be like, wow, I feel so much better. Like, you're not going to have more joy in your life because you attended those things when you have this other sense of joy that is accomplishment. Now, all that said, right, there is balance, right? We need to attend things. We need to be a part of other people's lives. We need to have other people be a part of our lives. We need to do a lot of the things that you said that you're like, you have a fear of missing out on. Those things are good. They are important. People are tremendously important. You want to be a part of those things. That's good. That desire is good, right? But that desire, if that desire overwhelms you, then the desire becomes bad. That's true in anything. If a desire overwhelms you, it becomes no longer a good desire. That's true with loneliness. A lot of people, they feel lonely because they aren't around enough people. But what it really is loneliness is a lot of times it's a mask. What it really is loneliness is a desire to be around people, and not having that makes you go throw a temper tantrum. A lot of times in your own head, you're like, I want to be around people and there's no one around. And you start beating yourself up inside, right? Loneliness is just the other side of the same coin, right? As desiring to be around people too much. Sometimes we have to let that desire go because it's become a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be around people. But when that desire puts you into unnecessary pain, that pain is there to remind you, hey, this is an area we need to grow in, right? So hopefully all of that helps. Hopefully that clears things up and it gives you a clear path to where you can go to get over the fear of missing out. Joe, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I love what you're just talking about, with denying yourself. You like a lot of times when people talk about fasting, they talk about fasting from food, and that's one way to fast. But you can also fast from anything. It's really just the discipline of denying yourself for a time something that is good, that you enjoy, and it's just that discipline. Like Ryan was saying, we think it's going to be so hard. We think it's going to be torture and pain and all this kind of stuff, right? We think that, but really, there are the moments where when we're in the middle of it and deny ourselves, it's like, man, in fasting from food, it's like, I'm really hungry. I really want to eat that. And then it's like, well, but no, I said I'm going to wait until this certain time to eat, and so I'm not going to eat right now.
It could be a video game.
Yep, it could be a video game. It could be social media. It could be TV. It, whatever. It could be, your favorite show you like to watch on Netflix or whatever, right? And you just say to yourself, no, just not now. And you know what? Like Ryan was saying, it's so amazing the peace that comes over you. It's amazing the strength in other areas, other seemingly unrelated areas of your life that you find you all of a sudden have. You're like, oh, now I'm not as inclined to do this other bad habit that I used to really struggle with because I did this over here. That's really strange, because I denied myself this and I felt the peace from that. And so now I feel less compelled.
Yeah, so true.
To do this other thing.
Oh, that's so true.
It's amazing. Like the strength that comes from just simply the discipline of self-denial. And it's not like you deny yourself completely. You just deny yourself for a time. You say, oh, well, I should take that back. You should deny yourself completely things that are bad for you.
Oh yeah, right? Sure. They're bad for you, right? If
right.
They're good
Those
for you,
things. But the things that the things that are good, the things that are enjoyable and wholesome and good and virtuous and all those things, and but you find it can be a fairly frequent indulgence for yourself to just delay. I'm gonna tell one of Ryan's stories. I love this story because he talks about a sandwich, the story of the sandwich.
Yeah.
And he would, I don't know how he used to do this.
You could do it.
I totally could do it now.
Yeah, you could do it now.
But that's because I've practiced. But like Ryan, he would eat half of a sandwich, and then he would set the sandwich in front of himself and let it sit there and deny himself the sandwich. He would just eat half of it. So he would actually taste the sandwich. He would have the flavor of the sandwich in his mouth, and he knew it was there in front of him, and it was a good sandwich.
It was a good sandwich. You should wear.
But then he's like, nope, I'm not going to eat it right now. And for me, I would always be like, I got to put it away. I got to get it out of my sight. I got to wrap it up and put it in the fridge, put it in a bag, whatever. Nope, not Ryan. Ryan set it out in front of him. He probably carried it wherever he went. They're like, ooh, the sandwich. The sandwich.
Well, unfortunately, if I had done that, I would be running out of my car with my phone taking pictures of houses with a sandwich in my hand. Which would have been fine, but it's pretty great. I mean, that would be the next level.
Yep. But that amazed me. I remember when he told me that astounded me. Now, here's the thing. One of the things I gave up for Lent this season was snack foods. Like Doritos.
Chips.
I have a bag of Doritos, like back there.
And it's open.
It's open. Like it's closed pinned up and everything. It's not just like open and everything's stamped, right?
Smell everywhere.
Like, but Ryan, he told me this. He's like, because during Lent, like, I don't know if you guys know, but during Lent on Sundays, you can giving up what you gave up, right? So you can have the thing you gave up for Lent on Sundays. And so periodically, Ryan told me, he's like, you should just go back and smell those Doritos once in a while throughout the week.
Yeah.
And so I do now.
That's awesome.
I'll go back. I'll smell
I'm
it.
proud of you.
I'll take that bag. I'll open it up. Oh my gosh, those smell so good. And you know what's amazing? The first Doritos I have when I can have them are not the Doritos in that bag that's open.
Really?
It's because like on the weekends, one of the things I end up at the store like early in the morning, and so I'll always get like a little snack bag of Doritos.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh.
when I'm there.
Yeah, because you're not at your house. That's great.
Yep. So it's hilarious. But at any rate, those that is so huge. The fear of missing out and the relationship of self-denial. Man, Ryan, I'm so glad you brought that up because that's so powerful.
I was like, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to say about this. And then you brought it up in passing, and I was like, yeah, no, he's right. So that gave me a lot of that. Kind of had to wing it and come with it up on the spot, but I was able to give that time. So thank you.
And here's the thing about this self-denial thing. When you do succeed and you hit that time frame when it's time to have the thing you've been denying yourself, it's amazing. Because you have the feeling, you have that sense of victory along with the thing that you really wanted.
You can give up like the worst food in the world, but if you fast from it and you get to have it like at the end, there's no guilt. You're like, yeah, bring it all in. I've earned this, right? But then right after that, you stop again, and you're like, no, I can't have it. And then the second week is harder because you're like, but I just had like a bunch of it and it was good. And you remind yourself for the next week coming forward that you cannot have it again. It's great.
Like, so I'm going to eat as much as I can right now. I'm going to have as many Doritos on Sunday. It's a party bag size of Doritos, right?
I couldn't even, but that's amazing. I seriously want Doritos now, though. Now that we're talking about it.
They're good.
But
we talked about it last night on the Twitch stream. Jesse got out his bag of Doritos and was eating them.
Right, just to mess with you. It's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thanks, Jesse. You're the best. But anyway, sorry.
In with the with our faith, the whole point of it is to give. Honestly, part of it is self-control, getting that virtue and that discipline in. But that's actually the secondary reason. That's just the benefit of the reason that we do it. the whole reason we do it is to give thanks to God and to become closer to him and commune more with him and be thankful for the things we have in this world that we, so the more pain we feel through it, through our fasting, like sometimes we're like, wow, like, man, it hurts, you know, like, or I want that so bad it hurts, but I can't have it, but it's like the bigger the pain, the better it feels. Like, and that's weird. That sounds so weird, but it's like, oh, it's like the more you sacrifice, the more it's worth it in anything in life, right?
Mhm.
And so that's kind of like this whole thing we're talking about is kind of like the side effect that we actually got to have um as a like a byproduct of something that was put into place 2000 years ago,
Mm.
um which is
Even before
incredible.
that.
Yeah, way before that, actually. Way
Mhm.
before that. It's 4 to 6,000 years ago, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a really wonderful thing. And Catholics aren't the only one to fast. Obviously,
Mhm.
Muslims are also fasting, and so are Buddhists and
Yep.
many other religions.
Yep. Jewish
It's
people.
Jewish. Yes, absolutely. It's a very good thing. The more in our society we get away from these things, the more we get away from virtue and self-control and things like that, the more we have to fight ourselves with everything.
Mhm.
Virtues kind of just help us to protect ourselves from ourselves a lot of times.
Mhm.
Um, so anyways,
Yep. Joseph, it says, sounds kind of masochistic.
yep.
Yep, it can sound like that, but really it's just discipline.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Just discipline.
I'm in pretty good shape right now, and there's one reason for that: discipline.
Discipline. Yep.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I mean, like when we do martial arts, and one of the things that's part of our belt tests every cycle is a fitness test,
Hmm.
and I'm always one of the first ones done. And I'm like the old guy, right? All these other kids,
Mm-hmm.
these young
Yeah, yeah.
whippersnappers that are like, hey man, I'm the prime of my life, and they're like, I'm the old guy, right? And like, I'm done, and they're like, not. um, so yeah, like the only reason for that though is discipline,
Mm-hmm.
because I discipline what I eat and I discipline my activity. I have a pretty strenuous exercise schedule outside of martial arts as well. And that's the reason. And really that's all that fasting is. It's just a form
Mm-hmm.
of discipline. It's just you know, giving up something. Like I give up not exercising
Is it
and
Christic?
feeling feeling, you know, just lazy and whatever for sometimes the very painful workout regimen, and that's on a, like 4 times a week, 4 days a week. I go through that. And I could just sit there, but then I'm like, I think to myself, man, I've been at it for a long time. If I stop now, I get out of the habit. I know exactly what would happen. I get out of the habit, and then eventually I get to the moment where the thing that kicked me into gear in the first place was when I climbed a flight of stairs. I just walked up a flight of stairs at a vacant house that I was inspecting, and I was out of breath.
Mm.
And I was like, are you kidding me? Just one flight of stairs? And I didn't run up it. I didn't skip steps. I just walked up the flight of stairs. And I was out of breath. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. And then I started to notice how hard it was to get out of the car. I mean, getting in and out of the car. And I'm like, nope, that's enough. And that started the journey.
Mm-hmm.
But really, we're either going forward or going backwards, and discipline is the key. So we've gotten all kinds of mileage out of this topic.
Yeah, we really have. Yeah. It's an interesting topic, and it's one that we haven't really, thought about before. So it kind of brought us to many different places. So it's cool. But yeah, Jono, thank you so much for this topic. And we'll be happy to do the next one next time you are with us. But yeah, you rock, man. Good luck on your journey. Best of wishes. You can do it. I hope that you take up some sort of self-denial or disciplinary thing because that can really help you. I think that because that's a lot of times where peace comes from, and peace is knowing you're in the right time or right space at the right time and being satisfied with that. And so, yeah, wish you the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Jono. And come back again, and we'll do your other topic.
Little Miss Fancy says, "Hey Ryan, Joe, what have you been giving up for fasting this year?" She said, "I'm giving up soda and pasta. I love pasta. I'm trying to eat more fish because I don't get to, and it's really good." Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's a good one. I'm not gonna fully share. I'm not gonna share what my fasting is, and that's because well, Joe and I have some fasting that we're both doing. I have some small ones. Like I'll share my small ones, because the other ones are intense and there's no reason to share. But anyways, my small one is I have given up coffee, except for on Saturday and Sunday, which I only drink coffee on those days and water.
Only coffee.
Yes, I must eat coffee. I must drink coffee on those days, and on the other days I do not. It helps me appreciate coffee more, actually. It's kind of interesting. But that's one of them. But yeah.
Yep, and I already shared one of mine was the snack foods. Any kind of snack foods. You know, whether it's and the ones I always gravitate toward are chips and popcorn, the salty ones. I'm not a big fan of the sweets, but I'll eat sweets, especially chocolate.
I'm a fan of all things.
Akil talked about strawberry ice cream. I'm like, there's really, to me, there's only one flavor of ice cream, chocolate, and like it's even better if you put chocolate syrup on it, on the chocolate ice cream, and then top that with hot fudge, and then put some M&Ms in it.
Oh yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome, dude. I have to give it to Akil. Akil, you I don't know if you've quoted this from something or you just made it up on the spot. I loved it. You said in response to Marcus Star or Jono's post, you said, if I remember correctly, some to the effect of, "Life is short, but don't eat the entire ice cream cone all at once. You'll get a brain freeze."
Yes.
Something along those effects. And I'm like, that is clever. I love it. And
yes. That post was great.
Anyways, let's continue on. We've got some time left here, so we're gonna keep on chugging along. Is Lay the next man on the scene here?
I think so, and he's here.
Yes. All right. Let's do it.
Yes, let's.
So let's.
Princess
Lay.
posted it. Click the link.
So this one's from Lay. It's titled "Getting in Their Own Way." Getting in their own way. Thanks for sharing this with us, Lay. You're an amazing person, by the way. I'm so glad you're here with us. This post reads as follows: "A friend of mine keeps throwing obstacles in his own way, purposefully. He keeps taking the longest way to get to every objective. He refuses to accept constructive advice from anyone but his toxic relationship. At the same time, he keeps asking for help and advice. Any idea how to make him realize his mistake? Last time I tried direct talk, it ended up on a large scale drama." Yeah, that's, oh my gosh. Like, I've seen this before, and I've probably been this before without even knowing. That's the truth of it, and I think we probably all have. A lot of times we just have all these blind spots, and we're like, no, I want those blind. A lot of times maybe because of pride or because of obsession. There are many different reasons. You said, toxic relationship. Oh my gosh, that's a buzzword, because that's true. That can totally cause all sorts of brain fog. So what is the advice that, and they're asking for advice and they don't take it, right? So you're asking now, what can you do to get this person to realize their surroundings and their own inner thoughts, how to realize and start going down the right path, and away from their mistakes? And you said last time you tried direct talk, it ended up on a large scale drama. So that is a great point to add on to here. It gives us a little bit more direction as to the different things, different tactics we might be able to help you with. So with that, Joe, what are your thoughts here? What are your immediate?
Yeah, it sounds to me like this specific situation sounds to me like there's some addiction or obsession, as Ryan put it. And I think that's going to be kind of where I approach this from. It's possible. I mean, we, like Ryan was saying, we all have blind spots. I've got all kinds of blind spots, and that's why I have, close friends like Ryan and his brother Kyle and Jeff and Steve and Joe, and like anybody that's here on staff with BSS, Jesse, everybody, like all this group of friends that I have, these close friends and colleagues that I've surrounded myself with. I love the fact that they are willing to point out when I'm off track.
Yeah, I think I've received that from everybody. Jesse, you like, hey, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's where I'm off track, and a lot of times it can be hard to accept that.
Yep. And I mean, I haven't even known Princess that long, and she's helped me out there in that regard as well. Like, I mean, Princess, our chat room hostess, she's amazing. Thank you, Princess. And Jesse, our producer, he's awesome. But all of you guys have helped me kind of steer my ship more properly because of blind spots that I've had, or because I've had an idea or a thought that was just like, seemed like a great idea in my mind, and then turns off, nope, bad idea actually. Yeah. Did you think about this? Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Shut up. When I thought that thought, I just shut it right up. So you should too.
Yep. It's awesome, but that's kind of the drama. That's where the drama can come into place, because we can get hooked on our own ideas. We can get attached to them, and we can just be like, oh, this is great, oh, this is gonna be so awesome. And then they just peed on my parade.
Peed on it? Whoa. That's a whole different thing. All right, it's supposed to be rain, but that one's so worse. Way worse.
It's kind of like
that's
rain.
How it feels, huh? Gosh.
But yeah, that's a parade ruiner. It totally is.
Sure is.
But in this case, it sounds like it's a habitual thing, and
subconscious thing, like they're not thinking about it,
right? Yeah, they don't mean it, but they're compelled. There's a compulsion, there's an addiction or an obsession or something. And it could be an addiction in a relationship, it could be an addiction with some kind of substance, but in this case, you mentioned a toxic relationship, so there could be multiple things going on here, but there's definitely something that's compelling a certain action. And that's really kind of what an addiction is. You lose control and you're compelled to do something that is not right, or that is unhealthy, but you do it because you just can't stop. Like you've surrendered some of your own self-control. And that's a tough thing to watch somebody self-destruct like that. It really is. And I don't know I don't know of a magic bullet to get somebody to see things a different way. However, I will say this. Every approach that I've ever seen, sometimes people react to the direct. Sometimes people, it needs to be spelled out for them. Sometimes people need to be, it needs to be all lovey, cushy, like it needs to be kind of presented in a way that's like third party. That was one of the effective ways for me, was when somebody would third party me. Like they would,
third party is so good.
Yep. A friend or a mentor of mine would tell me a story about a person they knew that wasn't me, that went through something similar or something the same way. And they said, I just watched this guy going through this and it made me feel bad. And one of the things is, like, I had one guy who was really direct in his third partying, where I would explain to him a situation and then he would just say, yeah, I knew a guy, and he would just tell me exactly what I just told him. And then say, you know what I told him? I told him this. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, he just repeated back what I explained. But said he had a friend. And I know I'm the friend he's talking about, right? So he first party, third partied me. But it was still effective because it was a little less direct, right? It was like a glancing blow rather than a direct, smack in the face. But so different people react different ways. But here's the key to no matter what approach it's going to be. And that's that you have a genuine love for that person. Do you genuinely love this person? And it sounds to me like you do, because you have a concern for them. You don't like watching them go through what they're going through. So you care for sure. And if you have that genuine, caring, loving spirit, then that's going to pave the way. So what do you do in the meantime? Because you said last time you tried direct talk, it ended up on a large scale drama. And yeah, I understand how that can be. And especially when somebody gets defensive, yeah, drama ensues for sure. So there's a 3A principle that I learned from Les Giblin in his book, How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People. The 3 A's are accept, approve, and appreciate. And this can unravel so many issues with people. When you accept them who they are, even though they're flawed, you accept them regardless. So you accept who they are with their faults and everything. Next is approval. To approve, it doesn't mean you approve of this thing that's going on that's a problem in their life, because of course not. I'm not telling you to approve of that. But approve of them, and find other things in their life that you can approve of. And that also feeds into the appreciate. Find things in their life that you appreciate and tell them about those. Or you got to be tactful. You don't just go up and, sound like you're flattering them. It has to be genuine. It has to be real. It has to be, you got to time it and be tactful, right? But when you can accept somebody for who they are, then they let their guard down. When you can approve of something of them, now they're warming up to you, and they're like, they're thinking, oh, I can connect at a level with them. And then when you appreciate, it just puts steroids on the whole thing. And then it just breathes life into the whole thing. Then they're relaxed and they're trusting. And then, with enough of that done to kind of build the relationship, so you have a bond where you then have authority to speak into their life, because really that's probably what the issue is. Your relationship isn't strong enough for you to speak directly to this yet. It hurts too much. It's, there's too much of a defense. Like you're not the right person to speak to this yet. So it's going to take cultivating the relationship a little bit. And you do that through acceptance, approval, and appreciation. And then from there, as you go, a lot of times what you're going to find is they know the problem that they have. It sounds to me like they do. They're asking for help and advice, but then they shut you down and they cause a bunch of drama. If you just accept, approve, and appreciate, you would be amazed. I've been amazed at other people. When I've done that, I've just accepted them, approved them, and appreciated them. And then that problem just kind of unravels. It starts to unravel all on its own. I didn't have to address it at all. And sometimes there's a little bit left hanging on that you got to kind of just, snap off or whatever, or tweak a little bit to get rid of that last little bit. But most of the work had already been done. They had already unraveled it just by me loving them for who they were and finding things that I could approve of and finding things that I could appreciate. And I imagine you'll find the same. But at any rate, that's what I have for now. So Ryan, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, that was actually really great, Joe. I think you took everything I wanted to say. So you said for now, well, I'm done. So what else? What do you have anything else you'd like to add to
that? Well, I can't think of anything else right now. So that's good.
Okay. Well, I'll talk for a little while, then I'll extend this. No. Honestly, though, okay. So one thing Joe said, and I think is brilliant. I want to give a better example of it so that you can understand how to do this. Third partying people is insanely effective, especially with people who are prideful, who for one reason or another refuse to give in to other people's ideas. The main reason they don't want to give in to your idea is, well, because they're prideful. You're the one giving it, right? And that makes them feel bad. It makes them look bad to themselves. It's wrong to think that, but that's what they think, right? But if there's another person who did something and they just like, oh, that's how they did it, I'll try the same thing. Well, then it becomes almost like it's their own idea. They're like, hey, I tried what this other person tried. We don't even know who that person is, so like no one gave me advice for this. I figured it all on my own pretty much. And so then it sounds silly, but oh my gosh, does it work? So when you third party someone, you basically you go like, oh, I heard this guy on a stream. I've been watching a stream lately. It's called Don't Worry Wednesday. And they, someone in there said that he went through some problems about like, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And this was his story. And this is how he got through it. That works tremendously. When we can give examples of other people's stories and how they completed their quest, how they overcame the obstacle, it allows that other person, it connects them because they have a story. 2, it's impersonal because they don't have a person which they feel like they're being trumped by. And 3, it allows them to interpret the information you're giving them without any walls. Because no one has walls up against someone they don't know and their story, right? A lot of us don't. If we know a little bit about the guy, like, oh, he's a famous, he's a famous politician. Well, it doesn't matter what story you give about him because I don't like politicians, so we have a guard up, right? Mm-hmm. But if it's some stranger you don't even know, you're like, okay, yeah, go on. What's the story? And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. And so it allows us to live out that experience, kind of like when we read a book. We live out an experience that we don't actually have to participate in, and it allows us to see the path forward, right? So is third partying through song lyrics a thing? Yeah,
It can be.
it can be. Another thing you can do, another form of third partying, which works really effectively, is say nothing, but just point at something else. So one thing they do a lot in really good business models, or even in religious situations, to help somebody learn, a lot of times they know, oh, they've got pride in the way. So instead of me telling this information, I send them to the source where I learned the information. And they don't know any of those guys, so they just take it in, right? I remember there are so many helpful CDs. There's like self-help books and self-help CDs and stuff like that, where the people just talk like we're talking now, right? And they give little tidbits of nuggets and insight into different things here and there. It builds up over time into who we are, right? It helps our mind digest all different things that are going on in our lives. And something incredible happens where we're like, yeah, I came up with this idea all on my own. Like I came up with the solution all on my own, even though in reality, the people who gave them that information about how to solve it was some random stranger. But also really lets people's guard down. I know so many people who were recommended CDs to listen to, like, hey, here's a talk on relationships. I found it really helpful for mine. I just thought, hey, maybe you should check it out because I enjoyed it a lot. And instead of saying, hey, this will help you, you need this, they say, hey, I thought this was really interesting. I had a lot of fun and I thought maybe you would too. Or alternatively, hey, I want to get your opinion on this. What do you think? So now when you ask someone's opinion, it makes them feel heightened, right? You've broken through a barrier of their pride by making them feel like almost like you're thinking you're doing the opposite because you're making them more prideful by like making like, wow, you're so important and all of the things you think are so good that I want your opinion. They're going to be like, yeah, I'll give you my opinion. Let me check it out. I'll listen to it. And they'll listen to it. And it will get nuggets in their brain that will slowly work on them over time, right? So kind of what we're doing here. And I'm sorry to subject you all to this earworm stuff, but this is what we're here to do.
It sounds like Mr. Miyagi level stuff, Joseph.
Yeah. So that is one of the best approaches, and it's called third party, because you just send somebody somewhere else. You don't tell the information because you know that they've got their pride above you. Mm-hmm. So you just go, hey, don't listen to me. In fact, I'm not even going to talk about your problems. In fact, I think you're awesome, and you probably have all of it figured out already by like you are going to fix this one way or another. I don't know how you're going to do it. And then just as a side note, you just flip them one thing. You're like, hey, by the way, I heard this story about this guy, or hey, I listened to this talk, and I thought it was really helpful on YouTube. Let me send you the link. I want to get your opinion on it. Don't even say this is something you're going through. Say, hey, this is something I went through once. And this guy is like, just laid it all out flat. What do you think of it? And then he'll listen to it and he'll be like, huh, that's something I'm suffering with. And he won't even relate like that. You just said, a lot of people won't even put the connections together that they knew you were having a problem with it. If you don't reveal that. A lot of times what makes us prideful is the fear that we're not right. That is so often the truth. Mm-hmm. The thing that makes us prideful is finding out that we're not always right. And that feeling of when we are wrong and we realize it, we are so afraid of that feeling that we put up this huge wall that no one can get over. And we zone everything out, right? So the way to break that down is to not bring up the issues. Don't make them feel like they have to prove you wrong. Don't make them feel like they have anything to prove you wrong over. Don't make them feel like you are questioning their motives or their actions. Don't make them feel like you're even trying to help. Because then they just see you as a friend who's on their side, not someone who's trying to correct their wrongs. When we look at somebody for their wrongs and we point it out to them, even if they ask, hey, am I doing something wrong here? And you know they aren't, you know they are prideful, or like you won't take that well. You know that you're not tight enough with them where you're like, I could tell them anything and they'd just do it. They'd like, if that's not the relationship you have, then don't tell them anything.
Yeah, just don't go there.
If they ask for advice, tell them this. Huh? That's interesting. I'd have to think about that for a while. I guess. What do you think? Like, if you knew someone else who was in this situation, what are your opinions? And then all of a sudden, now they're telling you stuff, right? And then you can take that and you can digest it and be like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I might do the same thing. Maybe I change this part, but that's, I don't know. Anyways, that sounds like something you could do, and leave it at that, right? And the way you, and then how do you change it? Because it's like, wow, that idea that they have was totally wrong, right? It doesn't matter. Because one way or another, their life will continue on. What matters is, are you on their side, and are they getting comfortable with you? Because when they are comfortable with you, then you can actually have more deep conversations. But until they let their pride down, there's not a whole lot you can do. Yeah, it's a trap, like Akil said. Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's interesting because it's a trap that they don't even really know they're springing for you.
Right. Yeah. They don't mean to. They actually, they don't mean to.
But it is a trap, and you can get trapped in it really, really easily. And so don't like what Ryan was saying. I can think of very few precious times when I actually did what Ryan just explained. And I felt great about those moments because I was like, yeah, that's awesome. But you know what? Even still, most of the time I get it wrong and I screwed up and I get caught in the trap. I totally get caught in the trap. Always. And it's crazy because I know. I mean, we're telling you here what to do, but you get caught in the moment. And then all of a sudden there you are, and you start, and before you know it, it's exploded, and then you think back and you're like, man, totally could have handled that differently, and I didn't. Oh well. And that's when you say, oh well. I messed it up.
Here's a further example of that. Like, let's say they come to you and they're like, hey, I'm doing with this, like, I'm just like, I don't know what to do anymore. And then you go, okay, well, that's an interesting thing. I'm not quite sure yet either. I'd have to think about it. But I don't know, if you knew a friend that was in that scenario, right? What advice would you give to them? And they go, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. I don't know. Right? And they come up with that. Then you respond, okay, well, let's think about it. All right, let's just think about it together and see if we can figure something out. Right? And you let them do most of the figuring. All right? You let them come up with the ideas, because then there's no pride. Right? And you can guide them. Right? Maybe you have an idea already and you just know what they need to do, but you can guide people into that by, one, third partying. Like, I did hear about a guy who's like, went through this. What do you think about that idea? But constantly bring it back to them. What did they think about the idea? And allow them to come up, and you can guide them subtly with different things, but allow them to come up with the idea, because then there's no pride on it. And even if they finally result on something that's like, close enough, good. At least it's something, But
it's progress.
Yeah, it's progress. Here's the thing. Here's the number one thing. At a certain point, you realize people have flaws. Some people got some things all crazy messed up in their brains. All kinds of wrongs. They've been led down a path that was wrong for so long, they don't even know how to find their way back. And when you give them an idea that's so foreign, that questions everything about what they've been through, they just break down. They refuse to just absolutely give in to anything, right? We know people are like that, and I'm like that in some ways. I'm sure of it. I just haven't found them yet. No one said them yet, but I'm sure I'll find them, right? Everybody has those, right?
Mhm.
So the important thing is to remember this. You can be their friend, and you can set a good example. And eventually they'll come around to finding their own mistakes. They'll come around to the truth, because the truth, it can't be changed. The lies, wrong ideas, they always get found out, you know? So you have to have faith in the world, have faith in the fact, like, not physics, but like the fact that truth is true. Like, that's
Mhm.
not science, that's not physics, that's just logic. Um, just true.
Mhm.
um, so you have to have faith in that, right? And understand everyone's in all sorts of different walks of life.
Mhm.
And there's so much more they might have to go through before they finally understand and get what you're trying to send them. So the best thing you can do is be a friend and walk through it with them, letting them take their own pace, because eventually they're going to get there. They're still a good person regardless, right? So that's, a lot of times there are people that I know that've got all sorts of weird ideas about things that I know are just wrong. And I'm just going to be, instead of correcting them or giving them advice, I know their heart, and I know they're a good person.
Mhm.
I know them. And so I just say, you know what? I'm going to let them figure that out when they figure it out in a few years. It doesn't matter right now. What matters is that I continue to foster that good heart,
Mhm.
that I continue to build up that good heart with the time that I have with them. Because that's what's most important. Because a good heart will lead them down the right path. A bad heart, a heart that feels like they've been attacked, that they've been wronged, that everyone's better than them, that they've been put down, all of that, a bad heart will not lead them down the path of figuring out the truth.
Mhm.
So just spend your time fostering a good heart in them, and they'll find their path eventually. Anyways, Joe, anything you'd like to add?
No, that sums it up right there.
Cool.
So I think that's a great place to, leave
To
it.
call it. Yeah.
Because
Now,
Lay, hopefully that's helpful. That is such an. You guys have been great with your topics. That's awesome. Lay says, I'm somewhat worried, honestly, that they'll get hurt if I let them keep doing what they're doing long before they figure their path out. Is that a lack of confidence in them, or just caring for someone? Could be a little bit of both. Sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
yeah, no. I was going to say the same thing. Go continue.
Okay. There is very little that okay, let's see. This is going to sound cruel a little bit, but it's also going to make sense, hopefully. Sometimes getting hurt is the best thing that happens to us. Now with that said, we should care, we should try, we should do the best we can, for sure. All the tools that Ryan just laid out, try them. Accept them, approve them, appreciate them, and then do everything Ryan was talking about with third partying. Maybe point in different directions. Try and start the conversation. Ask them their opinion about different things. Whatever. Try the things you can try. But sometimes, in order for us to wake up, we got to get smacked upside the head by something in life. And
here's the thing, that pain they suffer through, right? Now you're talking about, like, okay, so for example, now this isn't necessarily the example going here. I'm just giving an idea. and it could be the actual thing that's going on, right? They've got a relationship that is not good, right? And it's just going to keep on going until it crashes and a lot of pain happens, right? And you look at that and like, I don't want them to get hurt. That's good. You don't want them to get hurt. But they're going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't change their mind, they're just going to do it. But here's the thing. There's no reason to regret any of it. Mm-hmm. Because good can be made of all of that. And personally, Lay, that there are painful situations in life that have made you a better person.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an opportunity for one of them, for that person.
Mm-hmm.
Or for them to experience that pain and wake up a better person. And it happens to us all. Mm-hmm. And it's really nice when people guide us, right? And be like, and steer us away from a trouble. And then we don't actually have to face it, and we figure it out before it happens and be like, oh my gosh, I was going down that road. Oh my gosh. Like, and then we become better people, right? But if our pride's too up there and we just crash anyways because we won't listen to anybody, mm-hmm. then we'll finally learn it. So they're going to learn it either way. That's the thing. But can you stop them from getting hurt? It's really up to them.
Yeah.
If they want to stop before they get hurt. But most likely everything you're doing will help make that pain that they experience when they crash worth something. Because here's the thing. We've all experienced this too, where you crash into something, right? You feel that pain and you're like, I didn't even learn a dang thing from that. What was the point of it? That just was terrible. But that's because we still haven't figured out the information. But if you're there, even though you gave them the information before they crashed, once they crash, they'll wake up and go like, wait a minute, maybe because of X, Y, and Z, and they're not going to be like, because of X, Y, and Z Lay told me, but it's just going to be maybe because of X, Y, and Z that I just came up with my own head. This is why this happened. And then they get through it a lot faster because they have friends to rely on and people who have told them the right information over that period of time. So just continue to, don't over worry, don't work yourself up into stress or anything like that over it, because they're going to do what they do. But those are some tactics for you, and realize that your efforts are not wasted. In fact, it makes their recovery period a lot faster after they crash, if they do. If you can stop them, awesome.
Yes. And Akil, that you're absolutely right, Lay. What Akil was talking about here is super. That's a great metaphor. It's really nice to keep milk as it is, but then things like cheese, yogurt, and lassi wouldn't exist.
That's
so look at them as spoiled at one point, but now we found ways to accept them. And that, you betcha. And it's because of the challenge they were put through, because they were allowed to go quote unquote bad.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it became something good. But I think the most poignant thing that Akil said here was, if it gets to that point, is all the more important to be there. And that's where the relationship comes in. That's where the acceptance and approval and appreciation really, really starts to pay off. Because when they hit that painful moment, you're there, you're the person they can trust to be around, that's not going to judge them, that's going to love them, that's going to be there for them. And those times, those are defining moments. They're defining moments in friendships, in relationships, in our lives. When we hit rock bottom and somebody was there. They might not even said anything, but they were just there. So
yeah. There you go. Nice. Yeah, it's actually about that time. We're about to wrap up anyway. So thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to be back. If you missed it at the beginning of the stream, by the way, right now, we're telling you, we're going to be back on Friday and back on Monday and Wednesday next week. And we are going to keep that trend going for as long as we can. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you guys get to be here with us and we get to be here with you. you. So if you show up, we'll be excited and happy to see you. And I hope that you do, because that makes the stream all the better. The more that you are here. And yeah.
And if we don't have any topics to talk about, we're gonna talk about something and have a really good time.
Yeah,
man,
we could do that for days.
You're gonna love listening to it too.
Yeah, but right now, as it stands, we've got plenty of topics, so we're set.
Yep.
But yeah, hopefully you guys are back on Friday, and we get to see you then. So
in the meantime, subscribe to Twitch. The Princess posted the link. Maybe she'll post it one more time. Maybe she will. Maybe she won't.
Maybe.
If she will, that's great. If not, then I suppose it's okay. Hey, that's witch.tv.
Oh, don't go there. Who knows what that is?
There it is. Yay! Yep, go there and subscribe, because we have a lot of fun, on the gaming streams too. And go to bss.studio, hang out with us, and you guys are awesome.
Yeah. See you on Friday and Monday. Peace. Bye-bye.